Then we call the meeting to order. It's about 7:04 by my watch. And we'll call the roll. Mark, why don't you come around?
Mark Sinange, present.
Jennifer Dial, present.
Marianne Weatherall, present.
Paul Grady, present.
Tom Reardon, present.
Eric Eisenhower, present.
Great. So, first item of business was just a discussion of last night. Do people have comments, views, want to offer any insights on the action by the select board?
Well, it seemed like that they wanted, that we'll be seeing another project application maybe in the spring. That's what I understood it as. So
It sounded like that was an option, not necessarily.
Mary Ann, please, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. From what I understood, it seemed like we were going to receive another application in the spring, and I'd be willing to see that.
And what I was saying is that I think that's an option. That wasn't a commitment. I mean, there wasn't a sense.
Yeah.
They
Right.
definitely would be back, but wanted the door open to come back, which I think we feel would be fine.
Right.
So,
And it's a huge undertaking. I think that the select board is in buying this, but I mean, it's a lot of work. And I think it's commendable to do it. And it's a big project, so.
and it came pretty quickly. So I think a little more time may help everybody, hopefully. No other comments?
Well, I think the select board does want to support the employees in town and find affordable housing for them. So this was very important to them. It's just finding how to make it work within those 4 apartments, the 9, and looking into the income level limits and the AMI in Massachusetts will be, that's the next step that they have to go into. I think they'll come up with a great solution for us to look at that.
And maybe we should look harder at what the law seems to specify in terms of restricted deeds and levels and whatnot. So I don't know that we've really looked hard at the issue of workforce housing and how that fits in to the CPC. So,
Well, it's not just workforce. Again, I think everybody knows my disappointment, but I understand it. And so again, why we couldn't do the restrictions. The board was under the impression that we're working within the spirit of CPC because we do want to commit to all the units being affordable. I also understand CPC looking at restrictions. But if we restricted it now, we may run into difficulty later on because we do, you put it perfectly, Mary Ann, we have to find the formula. And I think we will. I know we will. And I explained that at Affordable this morning. It said what's going to be the best benefit for Cohasset? Or I differed personally because we want all the units to be affordable.
Oh, sorry, excuse me.
I'm sorry?
No, it's just, I don't know where that came from. My apologies. Sorry, Paul.
No, not at all. But we're committed to keeping all the units affordable, not just 4 and then counting the rest to our affordable housing units. And be it workforce, local preference, that's to be determined. We're going by family size, AMI, and what's going to be the best benefit for the town. So as a whole, and for the people moving into those units. So we hope to keep people in Cohasset who can't afford to live in Cohasset. We hope to get teachers. I mean, there's not a heck of a lot of units. But we hope that the application process is robust anyway. And as to revisiting CPC, the door is open. It may not be something that we even do. I'm not saying yes, I'm not saying no. So that we're all on the same page there. And there might be some project that comes down the road that requires CPC funding that's, just as good. That's going to help just as much or more. So we'll see what happens.
great.
I'm just hoping that we go into town meeting and people support the project. Again, what we said is, I don't think anybody, this includes this board, would be doing this if they didn't believe in it. You know, I happen personally to believe in this project, because I think if we get hit back to ground zero again without a town hall, we're gonna run into difficulty. And I think I told you this, is we did look at the existing town hall. The repair costs right now with prevailing wage, just to repair it, you're looking at about $17 million, give or take. So we thought, we'd hope that by splitting that and trying to put as less a burden, be it town hall, police and fire, we try to kind of fight the head off the, off the Hydra, I suppose, many heads, we've heard it, everybody's heard it, roads, sidewalks, town hall, what are we gonna do, what are we gonna do? We're trying, is anything perfect? No, but we do hope it works.
Any other comments?
Well, I guess maybe a question for you, Tom. Is this something that we could possibly treat like the way we did with the Beechwood Street playground? In a lot of sense, maybe work with the select board on how, I know we need to first do the first step is, occupy One Pleasant Street. But is there any way we can work with the select board on the, maybe nudging them along in the right direction on how we can, do what we can set out to do in the spirit of our board and help them with the units that we can maybe either carve out maybe a little more for police and fire, anybody like more affordable units.
I think we would stand ready to cooperate in any way we can.
And we'd accept it.
So,
I think we just need a more complete application. We need an assessment of the building first and just a more full detailed assessment and just explanation of how it was going to be working.
No, absolutely.
And I think that's our mandate, is to help with affordable housing and hire affordable housing and also repair affordable housing. Just unfortunately, it was already purchased in this situation, those 4 units. I think that was the quandary we came up with. But I did come across that the governor on October 18th came up with a new affordable housing policy reforms, which we'll probably add to when they come out with this new package for us. There could be additional solutions to help towns such as us come up with affordable housing. And so it may help with the package that's presented to us. But that just came out.
great. Where we are now is, in the last meeting, we voted, not last night's meeting, but the prior meeting, we voted to reconsider the September 27th vote of $1.3 million for units. What I would recommend is that we consider, and the chair would certainly entertain a motion to rescind the vote of September 27th, and that would leave us in a neutral position in terms of no action being taken at this time. And then at town meeting, I think we could say that we stand open and ready to work with the board at their lead for, reconsideration in the spring, something like that. What do people think?
Well, I'm a bit reluctant to say much here because I didn't vote I wasn't here for the important vote that we had. So I've done a lot of research in the last 2 weeks, and particularly this article here, Create, Preserve, Support, which talks about CPC and affordable housing, about 40 or 50 pages, going through all the options we have. And I walk away rather befuddled. This is a tremendously complex area in terms of the legalisms and the options that we have as a town. And they go through 30 or 40 projects that other towns have done with very creative financing and structures and all that. And I come back and say, we're pretty rough in this area, that we really don't approach this with a level of sophistication that I think the CPC would expect us to. And that's partially my fault. I'm not very well educated in this area. But I think taking some time and looking through articles like that and having people come in and talk to us about what our legal and reality options are like would be very helpful, Tom, in formulating our ideas. Because it's more than just buying 4 units.
Yeah.
It's not a real estate transaction. In this article, which I will send out to each of you, talks about how we should have a strategy. We, as the CPC, need to think 5 to 10 years down the road of what we want the affordable housing units in this town to look like. You know, it's got to do with the income level, the type of people, a lot of other considerations. And I'll send this out to you, and it's rather provocative. And I walk away saying I'm a bit embarrassed that I have gotten this far and haven't really approached it at the level of depth and detail that this type of subject warrants. So yes, I'm more than willing to take a 6-month stay of execution, stand back and study it, maybe have some people from the CPC Center come in and talk to us about what our options are and rethink the whole thing. Having said that, I'm concerned that if we do that, I'm not sure what it means for the current Pleasant Street project. You know, we drop out and our 1.3 million is not there to support the project. What happens to that project? Does it fail? Do we have to start over again? Or it wasn't clear to me at the meeting last night that if we went that route, what the select board actually is going to have to do, you know, to pick up the pieces. That wasn't clear to me. And I certainly would hope we don't have to start over again. But on the other hand, the 1.3 million we're talking about is a substantial sum of money. And I'm a bit uncertain as to what the consequences are if we should take that 6 months.
Paul, do you want to?
I can answer part of that, basically, and I'm not saying this in any way that's negative. The board goes it alone.
The board what?
Goes it alone. You know, they go to we make the proposal to the town. And, you know, we have a year or so before the tax increase, and, you know, it's not enormous on that. But, you know, you had a good point, Eric, talking about planning ahead. And that's what I was saying to Tom earlier. And I think this, you know, sometimes I think you have to be prepared for the unforeseen. You know, this came at us very quickly. But I think, you know, in working out a formula with CPC, affordable, you know, and that's not a guarantee that we come knocking on the door again, you know, on this project. It's, you know, I'd like to see the option left open. You know, that's me, and I think the board would as well. But so in this case, you know, planning is fantastic. It just doesn't always work in every situation. This was one of them.
Yep.
Because it's a real estate transaction that came on us. And that, you know, to me, it dots a lot of I's and crosses a lot of T's and adds affordable housing into the mix. So, you know, that's where we're just basically we're hoping for support, you know, and I'm not talking about the funding, but it would be nice to work, you know, collaboratively, obviously, and going forward.
I would be very happy, Paul, if we as the CPC could deliver to you and your fellow select board members a strategy statement, 5 pages, looking into the future for Cohasset affordable housing and how CPC wanted to be involved in that. So you have some document you can work with. And I feel a bit embarrassed we haven't done that yet. And having read through these articles, a lot of other towns have done that, and they've done it to good effect. And giving the select board some guidance from us as to how we would like to see affordable housing that we're going to finance develop in the future, I think would be very helpful for the select board. And will put us on firmer footing for the decision we're going to take.
Just apropos of sort of getting better grounding, I had talked with Stuart Saginaw, who is the executive director of this Community Preservation Coalition, about coming and speaking to the committee after sort of in the early part of the winter to just get a background on his perspectives on how boards, what are the best practices, that sort of thing. And then we could figure from there what other resources we could draw on. Because and we are in the process of trying to change and streamline the whole application process to make it more comprehensive. So I think we need some basic reworking of the infrastructure of the committee. And I think we can begin that very soon. I think we've had to clear the decks in order to deal with the special town meeting issues, but I think immediately following that, we ought to be
Bless
into.
you.
I think that statement that you're referencing would be very helpful in the handbook that
Yeah.
I'm trying to get through. Other towns have a handbook that's close to 100 to 200 pages about what the CPC role does in multiple areas and even of each individual. So it would be helpful. We don't have any type of dictation on our activities. And that we haven't come across this in the past. And it would be good to outline this for our future.
Great.
It would be good to hear from Stuart as well. I think it's important to communicate to the town though in a strong statement that we do support this project. However, at this time, we needed more information or the units presented in the warrant were already purchased and we didn't know, but it needs to be succinct and tight, and very positive, that we do want to support them and work through this. And we hope to come back with a supportive, affordable housing project that supports this town hall and the upstairs units. I think that's important to state.
Could I?
Whether it's 1.4 or not, we don't know. At this moment, we still don't know what it is.
No, I thank you for saying that because I think that's fantastic. I think, the old saying is, kind of keep it simple, stupid.
No, absolutely.
Is your support is incredibly welcome. And if we keep it simple, my big worry at the time was that we came up against the town and, my first instinct is to look at something and if I see a change, like I read the warrant, they're in the houses, and I read it, and I see a deviation when I sit down in the bleachers or in the chairs. My first instinct is to go, all right, someone's pulling the wool over my eyes. No. So with CPC supporting the project, that's fantastic. And that I would keep it simple that we will be revisiting this, perhaps the next town meeting, because it is a new project. It's new to the town. We're all committed to keeping the units affordable. At this time, we want to make sure CPC is following its own guidelines and following until the quote, I keep using the word formula, but it's the best thing I can come up with is laid out. Be it 4 units at 80, 5 units at 100, 4 units at 120. We don't know yet until we find the best benefit for the town. And then CPC, we revisit.
I'm going to sit down tomorrow with Chris and with Jean to try to work out a statement that we all agree is constructive, as opposed to he said, she said kind of thing. So,
Right.
Right, that's good.
hopefully,
Yeah,
yep.
and I know, and I obviously can't speak for everyone, but I would be very comfortable if you said in there that, that the board supports the project and, stands behind the select board in their approval of it.
That actually goes further than the funding.
Yep. Well, is everybody comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Great.
I have a question. I think sort of related. That at the end of the past governor administration, there was this initiative to put more housing close to, it really affects every town that's on the commuter rail, the train, or whether it be the commuter rail or the red line. Is this project, can we almost, are we, is Cohasset compliant within this to say, do we need more for, I guess where I'm going is this part of it also deals with affordable housing. Is that more of, do we fall into that, or can we use kind of that angle? I'm just trying to I really do support this, and I would love to try to push it over the line, but it doesn't, I'm hearing, and I believe that there's a certain couple things that we need to do, but I'm just trying to throw out, is that an angle, something the select board has looked at as that affordable, state affordable housing initiative? I'm blanking on the,
Charlie Baker.
Charlie Baker.
Baker administration?
I think it's too far, right?
That's too far. Does it factor in? No, this is more towards keeping Cohasset out of developers to be able to rip open the 40B door and come in. What happens in those cases is it's a real fast track to building, and we've all seen that proposed project on North Main.
Yeah.
That's there. Which moving on to wetlands, I think, in some
Yeah.
conservation
Yes,
area.
yeah.
Things like that can get passed if we don't maintain our affordable housing with the census.
Okay.
The units I think the governor was talking about, I think they've got a number that's between 350 and 750 units.
Okay.
I mean, every town has to look at themselves individually. To me, and I'm speaking singularly, we don't have the infrastructure to carry that. We just don't.
No.
So we'd have to parse it out, because I think it's a very broad stroke where you have to take into account your schools, your roads, the traffic situation. How do you factor that best in? You can put 1,000,001 units by a train. Doesn't mean they're all train. Matter of fact, 80% of them probably won't. But again, and I'm a believer in affordable housing, but I think that's a subject for a different day. This one here is for to add, and I don't like to use the people call it affordable housing stock. I don't like the term.
Isn't it moderate housing? I mean, I was looking up what income limits are and yesterday, and there's very low income, then there's low income, and there's area. I guess the balance is area median income, but is it moderate that we're trying to really hit? We have the 4 units, so we've already hit the low income level. So are you looking, the select board is really addressing?
Well, what happens
keep
is
people
I
in
have a
town.
sheet that I'll send out to you guys that shows some of the AMIs, and it really varies. It varies town to town. I mean, we have in this town a relatively high income, to a degree if you do it on a median, compared to say, someplace out way in the western part of the state or someplace like that that's not. And, in the business I'm in, I know because what we pay for oil is this area, say from, say Wellesley, Framingham, that area, all this central area of Massachusetts, it's technically the higher rent district where the prices are higher. You can move out towards the western part of the state. You're paying 40 cents a gallon less if you're using home heating fuel. So they go by income strata. We're looking at, but it's also by family size too.
Okay.
You have to look at that. Is it too, Brent? What could knock, say, someone out of one of those units, for instance? This is where the restrictions came in. Is if there's a 2-family income, and most people are nowadays. If say one of the husband or wife was making just $10,000 more than just hitting that level, they just miss out. So that's where we're trying to do, say, the 80, 100, and 120. And we're working now with property managers, and we've got some really positive feedback on what the building can do. But to address your question, they really don't meet and match.
Okay.
So what we're looking here is not to keep people out, but to keep Cohasset run by Cohasset.
Yeah.
Instead of by the governor, and not the governor, but saying they can open up that door to 40B. And next thing you know, you've got well, yeah, you've got an available spot of land and next to Mary Ann's house, and that normally would not be suitable because it's got a intermittent stream running through it.
Yeah.
And Eric, you're familiar with those. And so, but you can build there and again, I may be going over the top, but you're in that ballpark.
I ask that you read this article I'm going to send out to you because there are a lot of our fellow communities have done CPA developments with 50% and 40% of AMI in their regions. It's just a question of what we want our community to look like in the future and taking the affordable housing and using it as a tool to achieve that. And we haven't done any of that, all right? And I think that's the kind of thing, maybe not completely, but we have to move in that direction as a group and try and think of what we want in terms of the types of affordable housing we want, because it's not just 80%, it's not just 100%. This article you'll get talks about lots of housing trusts that have committed 30% of AMI, all right, because it met the social needs of that community. And that's something I don't think we've discussed as to what are our needs and what do we want in the future. All right, so.
A lot of those though, Eric, I will say this, were pre-built.
Very well be, yeah.
Post-war, like I remember out in Framingham, I've got my sister and brother-in-law out there, but over towards the downtown area, and Framingham's now a city. But I still remember it was called the Muster Field, and that was always, and then at the Cushing Hospital, that was all post-war. They could do it at 30 to 40 to 50%. They had the land, had the buildings, they were there. So, it depends. I think it's all very, it's unique to each town.
I'm in.
And Cohasset itself is, at some point, we're going to reach our carrying costs. We don't have any more room, and we don't have the room to lay down that kind of development situation.
If you look at conservation and what we do in the wetlands, half of the projects we do are tear downs. We're looking to tear down properties in Cohasset. People come in and it's kind of close to the water and they put $1 million price tag and they put a $2.5 million house on it. And all of a sudden it was a broken down bit of property before is a $3 to $4 million new house. All right. And that's where a lot of the land in the future development of Cohasset will be tear downs and then rebuilding, I'm afraid, unfortunately.
But I do think in looking at that strategy and stuff, and just sort of, as you pointed out, Paul, that we do need to keep in mind when looking at those projects, I'm heavily involved with the schools, and I can tell you right now that our Osgood Elementary School is almost full.
Yeah.
They're running out of classroom spaces. We're at, 6 classrooms per grade plus specialist rooms. So I think we also need to think about when building larger complexes and things, what can we afford? Because can we afford to build a bigger school? Well, we see where that's kind of falling at this point.
Yeah.
So,
Can't even repair the high school.
right.
Well, hopefully the stabilization fund is going
Exactly.
There you go.
But exactly, but I do, and I love the idea of coming up with a plan because I think it does give more focus and keeping all these other projects sort of what we can do.
Okay.
All right.
We're behind you.
Chair is seeking a motion for rescinding the vote of September 27th.
Can we state what that vote was so that?
It was basically, so in concept, it was basically the support of 1 Pleasant Street for affordable housing to the tune of $1.3 million.
And that was the vote of, I think it was 6 to
No,
4
that was, I think, unanimous. I don't think
It was
anybody.
unanimous 4, but to revisit was 6-2.
Yes, that was the reconsideration. And so then I think to close this loop, because we left that open because we didn't know whether the select board would come back with a
Right.
proposal or not. So now I think we need to rescind the outstanding vote for the 27th. And then we'll get a statement that will leave the door open, support the project, leave the door open for the select board to return. And in the meantime, want to work with the select board to try to figure out.
So essentially, I'm sorry.
No, please.
Essentially, there was never then an application that was presented. So that's.
There was an application that was presented. It was pretty
By
sparse. but-
rescinding that, then we're just at a clean slate.
No, we're rescinding our vote of that.
Okay.
Not, but there was a proposal, but it was developed over time also as we,
Do you rescind or do you amend? I'm just
Well-
curious.
well, we're not amending it because we're doing away with it. We're,
Okay.
So
We're
would start at
eliminating
ground
it.
zero.
yeah, eliminating, so.
Right.
So would anybody care to make a motion?
Motion to vote
Yeah,
on
yes,
rescinding our original
Mhm.
vote
Exactly.
on 1 Pleasant Street?
Yep.
Oh.
Are you,
Yep.
are you making the motion?
I'm gonna vote no. I don't think we should. I don't think we should rescind our vote. I think we should still support the project, but that's just,
Well, now we're in a state of limbo though, because we voted to reconsider, but
yes.
not to take an
Okay, sorry.
action.
I misunderstood you.
So you have a live thing of reconsideration. Now we've got to either move something forward or rescind what we did for the 27th.
So we'd be rescinding the money, but.
So
not
what we'd have is a
Okay.
blank slate. in
So
other
we're
words.
gonna,
Thank you.
But with a statement that will say that we are wide open to,
That's why I was asking about amending, it's moving it on for, not reconsideration, but for future. And again, I'm asking, I'm not
well,
suggesting.
I'm no town council either, but I
Exactly,
mean,
so that's like, neither am I.
my instinct would be
so
that we
we're
rescind.
rescinding our vote and waiting for a new
Exactly.
revised
Proposal.
application that addresses all our concerns so that we have, and that we are more fully informed about affordable housing.
Yes,
So
and
we
if
can
you want to make a
wiser
motion
decisions in
that
the
says
future.
that we would rescind the vote of the 27th, but we are open to, open to receive an addition or a new proposal from the select board at such time it's appropriate, something of that nature. All I want to do is get this vote off the table,
So,
and perfectly happy to have a tag onto that invites future.
so I would make a motion to, on our initial vote for 1 Pleasant Street.
Right.
And like to amend, so I know I'm cracking under pressure, I'm sorry. I'm not good at
Put out
these
a
things.
motion to rescind on the provision that we will, the CPC, in something, I'm trying to think of a word that fits with the select board. You know,
We will work in coordination.
Working, yes, thank
What we
you.
normally do in Concom is to put a condition on it. We would rescind it on the condition that CPC and the select board will work to better define what our housing needs are in the ensuing months,
That's,
which puts the obligation on us and the select
Would you
board.
like to
and
put this in a motion form?
it doesn't paint it, I like that, thank you, Eric, because that doesn't paint anybody in a bad light. It's
Yeah.
clear,
Exactly.
the town will be able to see that.
Okay.
So, all right,
So I make the motion that we rescind, all right, the vote that, what was the date of the vote?
September 27th.
September 27th, all right? And that in accordance with that, we will,
With the condition.
with the condition that, that the CPC and the select board and any other town bodies that want to be involved
yes,
will work to better define the affordable housing needs and of Cohasset, and put together a plan, all right, which will allow us to achieve those needs in the next coming years. I would like to see a plan, actually. I'd like to have a document that says this is what we want to do in the next 2 years. So, does that make sense?
That strikes me as going a little
That's too-
further.
that's deep, that's
Yeah.
deep. I like your first four sentences.
Take the first half. Tracy,
Okay, how about
take the
we
first half and kill the rest.
rescind our vote? I make a motion to rescind our vote on September 27th of this proposal that was presented to us with the condition that we will work with the town and the select board and other organizations
Or is it committees, yeah.
to welcome a new proposal that addresses this one
Pleasant.
One Pleasant Street address.
That's fine.
What about with the expectation rather than condition? What condition sounds to me like they have to submit something.
Well, that's what we do want,
Well,
don't we?
well, I don't know. I don't know whether the
Conditioning is the same as expectation to a degree. You're conditioning it because we have to come to you and we have to sit, so we're all conditioning each other. I mean, I don't,
Isn't it the
Okay,
formal
well,
terminology when we,
I would say we're not going to get out of this scot-free. We have to commit to something. And a condition is something we're committing to.
yes, I agree with that.
Provide something
Have an
in the
expectation.
ensuing months, all right, to take the place of what we mistakenly did back in September, I think.
Tracy, have you got this?
no.
And would you like to read it back to us?
I did pull up the vote from the 27th, and the vote was only, Virginia and Acme moved to approve 1.3 million for 4 units of affordable housing at 1 Pleasant Street.
Okay.
And the vote was seconded by Paul, and it was unanimous. So it wasn't as detailed as, I mean, I
Okay,
think
good.
it was in that vote, and then trying to follow what you guys are saying. I got part of Eric's and part
I
of
don't think we fully have it yet.
I think what Mary Ann said was the closest
I like,
to what I think we should have that I've heard, all right?
Eric, I like your first paragraph.
What did you write down?
I like them both.
We make a motion.
Sorry, just lost my place.
We make a motion to rescind
The vote
Our-
of September 27th.
our September 27th vote. Simple as that. Then, with a condition
Town I had.
to work with the town,
Select board, other committees.
with town,
Yep.
Town
Select
bodies, I
board.
would just put town bodies.
town bodies
Yeah, that encompasses everybody.
on a new application for One Pleasant, and something about the CPC with, with a better understanding of the CPC's role in affordable housing? No, that sounds like we don't know what we're doing. So,
Why don't we just
So-
leave it? I like what you said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could end it there, right?
You could end it there.
It probably
with
should
a
be
condition to
simple,
work
right?
with town
Yes.
select board and town
And
bodies on a new application.
Or no, to
on-
further define the needs.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I think that's important to further
Further
define the.
define.
Further define the
of
needs.
affordable housing.
of-
I think if we're
of
going to get out of
the housing component of One Pleasant.
If we're going to get out of this, Mary Ann, we
Yes.
have to commit to give them something, the
Right.
town, something. And it's
I
a
think-
program or a plan or
Might have
whatever.
just done
The
it.
needs
We
of
might have just
affordable
done it,
housing
Eric.
in Cohasset and at One Pleasant Street.
To read this?
It sounds good.
Okay. Here I am
Read it
again.
again.
We make a motion to rescind our September 27th vote, period, with a condition to work with town select board, town bodies on a new application to further define the needs of affordable housing in Cohasset
Great.
and at One Pleasant Street.
Perfect.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Should I say that
Excellent.
again? Do you need that to
I
say?
have it and it's recorded. I think I have it. I'll have to read it back.
I do this for work.
I'd love to have that for tomorrow when I see,
Before noon.
yeah,
I can do
great,
that.
thank you.
We see what you and Mr. Senior and Jean sort of
Hopefully,
come up with before.
that we will, I'll shoot out something that,
Yeah, and we'll,
And then
do
people
we
can
need to vote on that, or is that?
I
you
don't
can
think
just-
so.
No,
I
that's
think
trust
that-
you.
Yeah, I think
That's
that.
I trust you guys.
You anticipate us meeting before the town meeting to vote?
Well,
on
we
it?
have
Oh.
a meeting scheduled
Yep,
for
yep.
6:45. But I don't know whether we're gonna need it or not.
right.
If there are if I send out a statement we've agreed on and everybody thinks it's appalling, we better meet. But we
Right.
may have to meet before that. But hopefully, if people have an opportunity to tinker with it, we can get something without having to meet. But
How will this be handled? Like, with the town, there's a statement that comes out, well, there's, everyone walks into the building for that vote, that town meeting, and they receive a little handout that this is an adjustment to this warrant.
Or do you just
Or
speak it?
do you, or,
I think
right.
it's gonna be spoken.
Oh, okay.
and I think
Yeah, that's probably.
it's a
In motions too. It'll be in motions. So when you walk in and you sign in who you are, they give you a booklet, not the
warrants,
they
the
give you
booklet?
Motions, because the motions is what moves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know the steps. Okay.
So it'll be explained now. I know they're treating.
And then is it up to Tom to speak for the CPC or is it select board speaks?
I
or-
think, as
or
I
it doesn't-
understand
Usually it
from,
would be the chair, I would.
yeah, but as I understand it from Gene, that this may end up being a three-part ballet of the select board, the town manager, and the CPC chair.
I mean, I'm happy to
So-
jump up there. I have no issue. I mean, we're all in
Yep.
agreement. It's,
Well, let me
Gene.
meet with them tomorrow
Yeah.
and
Okay.
see whether we can get
We'll hammer it
something.
out.
And I think we're very close I think we all agree on what we're trying to do, which is
Yeah.
Yes.
present a united front in support of the project with specificity to be determined.
I mean, all in all, we just needed more time and a little more information. Maybe a direction on what the direction on what the Affordable Housing Co. has.
Sure, but-
We don't know, we've never hammered that out.
I think simple
Yeah,
is better.
that-
Simple, short, sweet, simple,
Yes.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
just
No big A and small A's. all right.
No,
no
no,
no,
letters.
you don't want to lose the audience.
very simple.
No, very short, very simple, and yeah.
All right, any other comments or questions or issues about special town meeting, about where we're at? Alrighty, we have minutes from November 2nd.
October 2nd.
Oh, excuse me, October 2nd. That has the committee
I sent
had?
them out to everybody.
Okay, great.
You have
I have
them?
hard copy.
Oh, I have not reviewed.
Did you send it out today?
No, it was when we posted the agenda today.
Oh, okay.
We were supposed to approve these at the last meeting, but we didn't.
I have both of them scheduled, but I didn't finish some of these.
Yeah.
Actually, can I get a copy? Do you mind?
Tracy, me too, but I read them.
Yeah, there's plenty of copies.
I'll just.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
I have a copy. I didn't see it. I can't print it
I
out.
don't want to look through my emails.
What was the date on it?
When it came out, just look at that one.
The vote on that one was Big Beach Road.
Oh, yeah.
Was that the,
So on the 27th, you voted for the Mount Pleasant and you kind of bumped.
this was the
Each
one,
went till the next
this was the one in the, yeah,
Yeah.
where we voted on the 2 million. Yeah. Yeah.
Right there.
Oh, yeah, that's right, the splash pad. Still like that.
Maybe we better plan to meet at 6:45 before
Vote on
the, no. To vote on this, but just in case people have had second thoughts on what the statement is, or we have clearer
That's fine.
sense of the
We need to be there early,
choreography.
we have to get a good seat. Where do we meet before?
Generally in the area when you come to the top of the stairs before you take a left into the,
Highly private area.
yeah, exactly, but it's a public meeting, so.
Where Mr. Dykes's dance party is
Yes,
gonna be
it's
going on?
actually right in the middle of that.
All right,
I
Question.
make a motion to approve these minutes.
great. Can I get a second?
Question on the minutes.
Yes.
Chris Seeley recommended the $2 million to a 10-year bond. Is now the time of year with interest rates at all-time record levels that you want to go out there and float a $2 million bond that you're going to be paying for over the next 15 years? Or is there a more artful way to finance this? That's my question.
I think he had said the bond, they wouldn't actually do the bonding until sometime next year.
Hopefully,
Along with
interest rates
other
will not be so
towns.
high.
Yeah, I think it was all gonna get bundled in
And it's
with all the
bundled
other.
in with
Right.
the other,
The other town
hopefully other
projects.
town projects and other things.
Is it a variable rate or is it fixed? Do you know?
I think he said it was, I think it's fixed.
I think it'd be fixed over 10 years.
Mortgages are 8%, you know.
Did
No,
you, it was 4%. Did you see that? I think he sent a sheet
Yeah,
around that had the numbers. Yeah, so I think that's what he sent is the payment.
People are loaning money now, big sums of money at 4%. I'd like to meet that guy.
Not you.
Just for a moment.
I have a motion before
Sorry.
us on accepting the minutes.
I'll second
I
it.
second
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. Anything else anybody has in mind? Otherwise, I'd take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second? Okay, we're adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And, oh, yeah. And we'll plan to meet at 6:45, just